All right, everybody. Sooners Illustrated game preview time. Week 2.
Week
Number
2.
18, Oklahoma. Number 15, Michigan. Saturday night at the stadium. It's a 6:30 p.m. Central Time kick on ABC. It's the biggest game in the country this weekend. College Game Day is going to be there. Every national media outlet, it seems like, is going to be there. Some have said the biggest game of the Brent Venables era. Wouldn't get a big pushback from me. The direction of this season pretty drastically changes depending on what happens on Saturday night. Guys, here we go. We're going to learn a lot about this team this weekend. We kind of said last week, like, what are we going to really know coming out of Illinois State? Not the case this time. I mean, if Oklahoma plays well and wins, you can feel pretty good about, the direction of this season. If they play poorly and lose, panic button will be pressed all across the state of Oklahoma. So much on the line this weekend. And here we go. I mean, we're going to learn a lot about John Mateer, Ben Arbuckle, and this entire Oklahoma team coming up in just this weekend. Going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, like you mentioned, it kind of is going to, I don't want to say dictate the season, but it's going to, kind of set the bar for whether this could be another disappointing season or this can be an 8, 9, however many win season. Because if you beat Michigan and you look good doing it, like you should probably be 5-0 going into that Texas game. We'll see how Auburn looks in the coming weeks, but you have a really good chance to be 5-0 heading into Red River with a chance to make a statement in that game. You trip up in this game, your first big test, and let's say the offensive line still doesn't look good, the run game struggles, you start to get concerned heading into SEC play. So, like you said, probably won't get much pushback saying that this is the biggest game of the Brent Venables era. Obviously, that Texas win in 2023 has been his biggest win.
Sure.
Game against Alabama last year is probably the second biggest win. But if they come out and they look good and beat this Michigan team, like in a, not just scrape by, but like, I don't want to say emphatic either, but like a solid win, you'd have a case for this maybe being, 1A or 1B in terms of biggest wins of the Brent Venables era at Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. This is like the ultimate redo, I feel like, from last year when you go up against Tennessee and the crowd is there, the crowd's rocking. It's the first game in the SEC. You got a former coach there on the opposing side. You got a very hyped quarterback who's in his first year going against Oklahoma Sooners and Brent Venables. You get a chance to redo that now. It didn't go the way you wanted to. It's going to be that type of game, I think, for this team. It's very important that they win this, as you said, Josh. It's the redo. It's the one you need to build hype, which is what you could have did last year. You get another shot at it. And so that's what makes this pretty fun. Like, it's a chance to do it again. So let's see what happens this time around when you got, a competent quarterback, competent OC, and everything looks good on the offensive side, except for the run game, I guess.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a minute. I mean, you just think of how drastically different it feels if they win or lose. I mean, if Oklahoma wins this game, John Mateer firmly in the Heisman combo, which he already is sort of, but like really he will be after Saturday. Oklahoma will be talked about as a playoff team or, in the conversation to be one. No doubt about that. And, wondering where they stand in the pecking order of the SEC, all that. If you lose, you're kind of wondering, oh, man, this just feels like a game that Michigan is obviously good, right? I mean, they're a top 15 team. They're blue blood. They have a lot of talent, all that. They have Bryce Underwood's, I think everyone thinks, a future star at quarterback. But it's a game. It's set up for you to win. I mean, it is. It's a freshman QB, first road start. You're at home. Like, it's a spot of a game that we talk about a lot in the preseason, like most important games. Like, if you want to be a playoff team and a top-end SEC team, these are games you have to take care of business. It's just kind of really that simple. So a lot on the line this weekend. The hoopla is insane. Colin and I talked about it on the podcast on Thursday. Over 80 visitors expected for the game this weekend from the high school level. Just an outrageous number. Like talent everywhere, 4-star, 5-star talents everywhere. Like Oklahoma can do so much for themselves. Public perception within the context of this season, recruiting so much by playing well and winning. It is kind of unreal how much is on the line this weekend. It's hard to fathom, really. It's a lot. And so it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of attention. Biggest game in America, like we said, going into the weekend. And again, we're going to learn a lot about this Oklahoma team one way or another on Saturday. Going to be fun. Only the first time that Michigan's ever come to Norman. Second time they've ever played, period, these two programs. So a historic matchup as well. On top of everything else, it is two blue bloods going toe to toe, and that'll be a kind of a fun little wrinkle as well. Sharon Moore, which James kind of referenced, an OU alum coming back to coach the Wolverines in Norman. Storylines everywhere for this game. On the injury side, not really clear, Torrey Blaylock, what the situation is there. It's been very kind of murky signals both ways coming since Saturday of what his availability will be. Even if he is healthy, I don't know how much they'd use him because it sounds like Jaden Ott's going to be more involved. Brent Venables says he's close to 100% in his press conference on Tuesday, so you have to figure he'll be a much bigger part of this than he was. Michael Fasusi, Derek Simmons, do those guys get starts? Brent Venables said that they should be available for the weekend, but what does that mean? That those are kind of the health questions on the injury side. Anything on the injury side that has your attention before we kind of get into some of the other stuff here? Because again, Fasusi, Simmons back, Ott, Blaylock, like there's some questions, but for the most part, Oklahoma pretty healthy going into the weekend. Still early in the season.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the Jaden Ott of it all.
Yeah.
If he's 100% and can be, even, half of what you expect him to be long term, that's an upgrade over what they had in the run game last week, I think. And then, Michael Fasusi and Derek Simmons getting them back. I'm really curious to see what this offensive line looks like, not just performance wise, but who's going to be the starting five coming in.
What's the group? Yeah.
Because it's like, probably not going to have Jacob Sexton after he exited with that knee injury. So it's like, is Fasusi going to get the start at left tackle? Are they going to kick Logan Howland back to the right side and have Derek Simmons start at right tackle? Is Fabechi Wiwu going to start again at right guard, or do they like him over at left guard right now, especially if Heath Ozida is still a little bit banged up, and start Ryan Foje? It's like, is Troy Everett, a team captain, going to start at center this week, or is Jake Michaela, after almost a 50-50 split of snaps last week, going to get his first start there? So I'm really interested in seeing what this offensive line looks like coming out this week. But no matter who they roll out there, they need to be better than they were against Illinois State. They need more push. As Brent Venables said on the SEC teleconference on Wednesday, you can't come out of that game and look back and go, man, we just got destroyed up front. Like, they need to punch back, and they need to just be more physical and, create some separation on that line, or else it's going to be a long day Saturday.
Mm-hmm. I think Tom said it best. I think it's a lot about that offensive side, especially Derek Simmons for me, just because I think he was going to start at right tackle anyway, going into if he was fully healthy. How the offensive line would have looked with him out there, Jaden Ott. Yeah. How would he look how would the run game look if he was out there and fully healthy with the actual offensive line that he's been practicing with throughout camp? So that's kind of the ones you'll look for. The defensive side looks pretty good overall. Even with a freshman like Cortland Gilliard on the outside, I think you feel comfortable about everybody that's available on that defensive side to get the win in this game. It's just about, taking care of your responsibilities, which is what Brent Venables has talked about a lot of times on that defensive side. That's what it's going to come down to. So that's where I see it.
Let's get into the keys of the game. What's Oklahoma got to do to win this thing on Saturday? Obviously, James mentioned it last year, Tennessee game and things like that. Defense play well, game opportunities, offense not able to take advantage. They did do that against Alabama. What's kind of the path to Oklahoma getting the job done and getting this huge early season win for Oklahoma? James, I guess you're starting on keys for us this week, and we'll kind of go around from there. But go ahead, James. Key to the game this weekend for Oklahoma against Michigan.
This is the thing. The big games come down to the two. I think when it's two teams like this that are pretty much even in a lot of areas, you cannot lose the turnover battle this time around. Like they lost against Illinois State, and that's something Brent Venables preaches a lot, but they still seem to lose it a lot as well. That can't happen this time around. Like, and that's what hurt them against Tennessee last year. That's sort of the thing. So that's one of the biggest keys for me. Are we doing more than one each, or what are we doing here? Like, I can't remember how we.
I don't know. I mean, one big key, I guess.
I'll take them all.
Yeah, I won't take them all. But, I just think the turnover battle is one of the biggest things. And then stopping the run from Michigan, I think, is the other thing. If they can do that, which is a lot of what Michigan's yards came from last week, were the explosive plays, like the 56-yard runs and the 59-yard runs. If they can limit those plays, I think they'll be better off overall trying to make Bryce Underwood beat them through the air. And so that's where I see it for the two keys that I really want to watch is those two. Turnover battle and stopping the run game, I think, overall.
Yeah. For me, adjacent to the turnover battle, offense, take advantage of the opportunities when they're there. We referenced that Tennessee game last year. they gave them the ball inside the 5 and they didn't score. I mean, you can't have that on Saturday. I do believe wholeheartedly that this Oklahoma defense is going to play really well on Saturday. I think they were, they played well against Illinois State as well, but I think they were as basic and plain as possible. Brent Venables is going to throw some stuff at this kid, and I really believe that Oklahoma defensively is going to have a very nice showing. But they did that last year, and the offense was incapable of capitalizing on the opportunities, those short fields, and just taking care of the ball themselves. That's why it's kind of adjacent to the turnover battle. Like, if you're the offense, just be like solid at least. Like, don't give the defense no chance, because I do think they can win this game with their defense on Saturday. But you have to have an offense to go with it, obviously, to take advantage. So that's where I'm kind of at. It is whenever the defense does come up with those big plays, short fields, whatever, offensively, you got to take advantage when those opportunities are there. Because I'm not expecting Oklahoma to come in and score 40 points on Saturday, but they have to take care of the ball, and they have to, whenever Oklahoma, the opportunities are there, the short fields or whatever it may be, go get the points that are there to be had. So that's my main key, is just offensively, don't lose the game on offense, I guess, is really kind of what I'm looking at. That's a low bar after last year, but that's kind of where I'm at. If they can avoid that, then they got a pretty good shot to win on Saturday.
Yeah, the key for me starts with Brent Venables as a defensive coordinator in this game, and just, making it a nightmare for Bryce Underwood. His second career start, first in a big road game. I have some numbers I'm going to throw at you guys, courtesy of our colleagues at CBS Sports. Brent Venables as a defense coordinator, head coach, 21-5 all time against freshman quarterbacks, true or redshirt. Of those, 5 losses, 4 of them he's 3-4 at Oklahoma against those teams. But you look at those 4 losses: 2022 Red River game, Quinn Ewers, when Oklahoma just did not have a quarterback and didn't have a chance in that game.
Sure.
2023 Alamo Bowl with some opt-outs, a first-time starting quarterback on your own end. Noah Fafita had a really good game in that game. Then last year, you referenced the Tennessee game. Nico Iamaleava, I think he played well in that game, but he's not why they won that game. Like you said, those turnovers, giving it up inside the 5-yard line. And then I believe the other one was Tulane last year with Darian Mensah. In the games that, in those 26 games that Venables has played against a freshman quarterback, those offenses have averaged 20.2 points per game. Like, Brent Venables is going to throw the kitchen sink at Bryce Underwood. He is going to give him exotic looks. He is going to try to do things to confuse him pre-snap, after the snap. I don't think he's going to hold anything back. I mean, he's been one of the best defensive minds in the sport for a quarter century, and I expect him to have something up his sleeve for a true freshman quarterback. Even as talented as Bryce Underwood is, I think he's going to have a great career. He looked good in their opener, but this is going to be something he has never experienced before in his life.
And I think another part of that, Brent Venables truly respects Bryce Underwood. He compared him to Trevor Lawrence in the press conference yesterday. Like, that's a high honor for a college quarterback. I mean, overall, he said he was mature in his decision making and things like that, but beyond his years. That's a pretty good compliment coming from Brent Venables. So it shows that he really understands the talent and what this guy can bring. So there's going to be some things thrown at him, as Tom said, for sure.
Definitely feels like they're set up to play really well defensively, like I said before. And I think the crowd's going to be awesome on Saturday. The buzz it's been there all week, and it's going to be ready, and they're going to have a chance to ride that. And we'll see if what Bryce Underwood could do in the face of that. That's a huge storyline for sure on the Michigan side going into Saturday. What about players to watch? It's a big game, obviously, so there are many. This is where you want to probably lean on your stars, right, to step up and deliver for you. I guess I'm starting here, and I'll go ahead and take the you're going to tee it up for me. I'll take the softball. Jay Knott. I mean, Jay Knott, let's see it. We've been talking about this guy for months, that he's supposed to be this star. I'm not even going off us. I'm going off Brent Venables here. You told us that he's a star, right? I mean, SC Media Day is talking about, he's a home run hitter and all the praise that was heaped on this guy. I don't know what happened in the opener. Why you give him one carry and have him return kicks, but not really play him. It was weird, right? He missed a lot of camp. So the depth chart thing kind of made sense, but the way they used him in the opener was odd, right? I mean, it was strange. Brent Venables said he's 100% or close to it. Ben Arbuckle said he can't wait to watch him play on Saturday. Like, he needs to be a big part of this. Like I don't really see any way, and the OU fan base will rightfully melt if Jay Knott does not get a legitimate amount of carries on Saturday. He should. We talked about how poorly they ran the ball. You're possibly replacing both tackles, or at least one of them maybe, and hopefully you're getting your star running back actually out there and using him. So you got to run the ball. I mean, you're going to have to. Could they get by and win this game without a big run game? Probably, but you're not going to go where you want to go long term that way. So without question, it's Jay Knott for me. I mean, the biggest question on the Oklahoma side is how much or how little does Jay Knott play, and how involved is he going to be on Saturday? That's by far the biggest question on the Oklahoma side going to the weekend. So he's easily the player to watch for me on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm going to stick on the offensive side of the ball. I'm going to go with Deion Burks, Michigan native, 40 minutes east of Ann Arbor.
Call.
Went to Michigan camps as a kid. Grew up in a Michigan household. All he knew was maize and gold, or maize and blue, rather. Sorry, growing up.
So Michigan fan just freaked out.
Yeah, no, that's all he knew growing up. Never got recruited by them. Even though he went to the same high school as Bryce Underwood, as Damon Payne, as Elijah Dotson, all guys that are on Michigan's roster right now, he was just kind of overlooked because he's 5'9" slot receiver, and Michigan, offense changed a little bit now, but when they were under Jim Harbaugh and for so many years, they wanted bigger receivers that could block on the outside, and Deion Burks just did not fit that mold. We talked to him after the Illinois State game, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't like Michigan anymore. They didn't recruit me." It's like they have a saying. They have a saying in Michigan that the best players stay in Michigan. So he guesses he's not one of the best players. So this game's a little personal to him, and I have a deep dive on him and just that whole ordeal on our site for our subscribers if you want to read that. But I'm really eager to see what he does against his home state team, against some familiar faces for him, because he still carries that chip on his shoulder. Still feels a little slighted that they didn't give him the attention, even though it probably worked out for the best for him because he wound up somewhere that showcased his ability a little bit more offensively.
I'm gonna take a little wild spin on it. I'm gonna go with the position group here with the linebackers. I think Kip Lewis, Cole McKenzie, Samuel Masigo, Owen Heineke, whoever's all out there. It's a very big game for them because of how disciplined they have to be with not only spying on Bryce Underwood, but also helping with stopping the run, which is, like I said, one of the keys to the game for me. That group has a lot of responsibility in this game. They have to be sound. They have to be ready to go for what this Michigan offense can do, especially if Bryce Underwood finds himself getting comfortable out there. Yeah, they gotta be able to stop things and bring things back to reality. So that's the players to watch for me. I think overall is that linebacker room for Oklahoma.
No doubt. No, that's a good one. I agree with Burks also totally. Bit of a personal game for him. One bonus one for me on the defensive side, R. Mason Thomas. Again, kind of what I mentioned off the top of this. This is where you kind of want your stars to deliver. Let's get after Bryce Underwood a little bit. I mean, when you're looking to get a pass rush, I mean, that's who you're looking at, right? I mean, they had 2 sacks and no turnovers in the opener. We talked about it. Illinois State was intentionally getting rid of the ball quickly. They knew they couldn't hold up. Like I'm not reading too much into that. But this weekend, you're going to need to create negative plays. And if you could find a way, the way that they did last year against Tennessee and force some turnovers, the way Robert Spurs-Jennings came off the edge and stripped Nico Iamaleava, and then they didn't score off it. R. Mason Thomas is who I'm looking to provide that. And, the way he's taken over games in the past, this is big spot, freshman quarterback on the road. You want your premier pass rusher to go impact the game, right? Make his presence felt on Saturday. So, he would be a big one for me. If I didn't take Ott, that's probably where I would have turned with R. Mason. But, like I said, it's a big game. So you're going to look at any of the big stars you can make it, or you can pick here, and it'd be perfectly fine. Obviously.
Yeah, I mean, John Mateer. I mean, we can put him in there as well.
But yeah, it's you need your best players to play well to win games like this. That's true of anywhere, and any big game. So, all that said, let's pick it. Final score predictions for Saturday: Oklahoma and Michigan. Oklahoma is by my check on the CBS Sports app, looking at it right now. So I always do it. 4.5-point favorite. This opened at 1.5, so it's just moved more and more and more and more. People are riding Oklahoma here more and more and more. The over-under is really low, 44.5. I'm expecting it to be a defensive game. I agree. We'll get our scores in just a second. Where do you guys go here for Oklahoma and Michigan? Can they get this huge win? Colin Kennedy on the Thursday podcast took Oklahoma to win 27-20, so he's got the Sooners. Tom, I think you're starting it with picks. Let's hear it. What happens on Saturday? Does Oklahoma get this win, or are we smashing the panic button on Monday?
I think they're going to get this win. I'm not far off from Colin. I think I have it 24-20. I was on Preview Pod with our Michigan site the other day. That was the score I picked, so I'm going to stick with it, keep it consistent. I would not be surprised if Oklahoma was able to score a little bit more than that. The offense does get rolling, but it is the first big test against a quality deep, one of the better defenses in the country, really, for this new look offense. So I think it's going to be a lower scoring affair for both sides, but I do think Oklahoma is going to be able to make enough plays on both sides of the ball to get this done 24-20.
I'm going 21-17. I think it's going to be a low scoring game as well. Defense is going to help out here overall for Oklahoma. I think 3 touchdowns is what could win this game, given just everything that can happen in this one. Like I said, I think these are 2 evenly matched teams. But Michigan's going to have their linebacker out for the first half. That's a big thing. That's a big part of
good call.
What's going to happen in this one. And you're hoping that Oklahoma can take advantage of that and get some sort of run game going in that area with Jay Nott coming back and some of those tackles as we mentioned on this podcast. So 21-17 for me, close win for Oklahoma.
Yeah, we're all in the same ballpark. I said 24-17 on CBS HQ on Tuesday. Rolling with that. No reason to change off it. I really feel like, and we keep referencing it, but I really do feel like this is going to play out similarly to the Tennessee game last year. Only this time, I believe Oklahoma has an offense that will not,
throw up all over itself.
Pee down its leg. Yeah, I was trying to find the most PG way to say it. Because, that the defense last year in that game gave them every chance to win, and the offense was so horrible that they couldn't take advantage of it. I do think this time it'll be similar, but the offense will be able to take advantage this time. And I do think, you kind of look at Alabama last year, Tennessee last year, those big primetime games under the lights against a good team and a good, good quarterback, all that. Brent Venables has had the defense ready to roll, and they've rode the crowd. The crowds were great in those games. It's going to be electric on Saturday. I think the defense is going to feed off it, and they're going to play great. And I'm not truthfully expecting the offense to be amazing on Saturday. I'm not. But I think they'll be good enough. The defense will force a couple turnovers. They'll cash in on it. And if Oklahoma can avoid the big mistakes, like I said earlier, they should have every chance to win on Saturday. So I got Oklahoma winning 24-17, and the hype train will be off and running. We'll be talking about this team as a possible playoff team and all that good stuff on Saturday night, and obviously on the podcast on Monday. That's right, Matt. So we're in consensus. It's a little scary. We're in consensus.
I do want to circle back on one thing that I was mentioning earlier about Brent's defenses against freshman quarterbacks. I mentioned Darian Mensah. Oklahoma obviously won that game. I meant to say South Carolina last year was the other loss with our sellers, and obviously they got put in a terrible position with those 3 turnovers on the first 3 possessions. So there's some outliers in those numbers for his losses at Oklahoma. So I think if the offense can, be competent, that this defense is going to give Bryce Underwood enough trouble to put Oklahoma in a position to win this game.
I'm juiced for this game. This is awesome. I mean, this is great. I mean, 2 blue bloods. I mean, biggest game in America. This is why you do it, right? I mean, this is going to be awesome on Saturday. Cannot wait. Full coverage on the website, oklahoma.247sports.com. Be sure to subscribe. Use that code SoonersPod60. Get 60% off. Tons of recruiting coverage there. A lot more to come. Obviously, off a mass. I said earlier, over 80 guys expected in town this weekend. It's crazy, and it's going to be a heck of a game on Saturday. We're all going to be there. The 3 of us. Going to be a wild scene. We'll have the coverage all day leading up to the game. Obviously, during the game thread, and then afterward on the site here on the YouTube channel. Brent Venables, Ben Arbuckle, John Mateer, the full team. Instant reaction from us, and we'll wrap it all up and be back on the podcast on Monday to break it all down, the good or the bad. Coming up later next week. That's it for now. We'll see you on Saturday night from Norman. This massive game we cannot wait. For Tom Green, James D. Jackson, I'm Josh Callaway. We'll see you Saturday night at the stadium, Oklahoma and Michigan.